Welcome to our talk about the Emerging Technology Special Interest Group, or Zenith SIG, that we're looking to develop through FINOS. We're going to walk you through our proposed vision and structure just so that you can understand how this all comes together. During unstable economic times, innovation is key, but innovation can also be quite scary. What if you back the wrong horse? Or, even worse, what if your horse fails to perform in the first place because of something that you did? These are all deep-rooted fears that everyone must consider when embracing new technologies. We hope to solve this by combining trust and ethical practice to create a shared innovation brain trust. This gives you a way to get questions answered by people in the know, or to explore hypotheticals in a safe way with good partners. So who are we with our big ideas and fancy animated slides? Well, we are all people who live these explorations every day. And while this is our current team, we hope to add many more to this lineup in the near future. My name is Keith O'Donnell from FinTech Technology, an emerging technology consultancy that helps investors and entrepreneurs connect while developing wider ecosystems. My background started in biotechnology, but I've moved around through various industries, gathering a set of skills that suit the innovation agenda well, including time working with Morgan Stanley. Peter Smilovich, a FINOS veteran, has been instrumental in getting the SIG proposal off the ground. Working at Morgan Stanley and maintaining a very active blog, he has seeded the first set of position papers, which you can find at .netears.com. These have shared insights across several key technologies that we will be embracing in the near future. Lastly, Patrick Downing, also from Morgan Stanley, is a quantum programming expert who brings a strong experience from the security engineering disciplines. He is also a strong advocate for sharing the learnings that he has gained through all of his hard work, which we have replicated into the latter parts of our plan. So now that you know the folks behind this, let's take you through the three parts of our proposal: our vision for success, the process for how we're going to achieve this, and how we plan to support our process. Kicking off with the vision, we want the Emerging Technology Special Interest Group to thrive on engagement. It's no good just talking about emerging technology. People have to embrace it and use it until we can figure it all out and bring others along on the journey. Picture this. The world of emerging tech can be like the ocean, vast and terrifying, but it doesn't have to be. If we can lead the fintech industry as the most trusted source of emerging technologies knowledge and experience, we will all have hope of smooth sailing. These are some of the technologies we aim to tackle at first. This isn't an exhaustive list, nor is it completely set in stone. This SIG will thrive on engagement from our community to share and shape our shared vision for collective success. In order to achieve this, we have a process. Let's dive into each of these. We kick off with emerging technology positioning and explainers. When you hear about things like using DNA as a storage media, or we want to do financial transactions but in space, there's a part of your inner voice that's probably replying negatively. Often, this is in parallel to the panic about trying to contextualise without looking like you're out of the loop. This is where the SIG steps in. By devising primers, we can explain what the technology is, who is currently doing it, and some reasonable understanding around what it can or cannot do. By showing practical application outlines, we can point you in the right direction to get started. Defining the brain trust gives you a list of trusted experts that can answer questions or vet the feasibility of exploratory projects. And finally, by showcasing academia, we can try to break through the issue of sometimes only having archive papers or journals to refer to. These primers are created by recognised subject matter experts. We'll talk a little later about how we identify and verify these people when we get to the brain trust. These primers give that first 5% understanding of a particular topic. From there, links are provided to help you carry out your own initial research by jumping down the link rabbit hole. We publish these openly, inviting comments and further discussion so that the primer evolves as the understanding on the topic does. Being part of the community can benefit the wider narrative on these subjects. We also try to give a clear indication on when these technologies are becoming ready, and you need to start worrying about investment, hiring talent, and getting ready to deploy. All very scary topics that become much easier to manage with decent data and information. To solve the problem of research or early stage technologies being too focused on the technical, we propose also adopting the Emerging Technology Analysis Canvas that aligns with business models. This helps to bring those more focused on the business impact along with the people interested in the technical development and delivery. By keeping these models open source, we can have a collaborative view across the industry to help us all have that little bit more confidence answering questions on some of the wilder topics that may arise in planning meetings. Looking at practical applications, we always want to reduce the pain of innovation effort. If something is happening in this space that we can learn from, we should embrace it. If there are gaps that we can identify that need research or explorations, we can call them out to remove our adoption barriers. If someone's already doing that work, let's see if we can help them. And finally, let's help to build a community of people that want to explore at all levels by giving them clear targets to aim for. In order to make sure all of this works, we need to find those subject matter experts. We propose to vet and verify these experts through FINOS awarded accreditations. These would be awarded by satisfying 5 criteria. Having relevant education or training in a subject. Being able to show or discuss a body of work relevant to the subject. Any relevant skills or awards that have been granted that align with your expertise. A demonstrated focus on professionalism and ethics. We don't really want members of a brain trust who can't be trusted. And finally, a commitment to continually learning and furthering your own knowledge in the field. To ensure that our brain trust can be as effective as possible, we need to source members from the theoretical, technical and commercial disciplines of life. Our intention is to recruit experts who can share their insights into industry or enterprise, academia, the wonderful world of small business or startups, those that consider the legalities or regulations of new technology, and finally, those that consider the governance on how to deliver sustainably and efficiently as we get close to an operational standard. Moving on to the showcase of academic research, we want to help members of our SIG to understand what exciting research is happening around the world. We do this by giving the researchers a platform to talk about their work and share their vision with the wider world outside of publications. We aim for this to increase the ability for industry and academia to collaborate successfully. Moving on, our next topic is open source libraries. We want to establish the standards to enable people to work with the new technologies quickly, while also enabling sandboxes to help people start their journeys safely. We also want to harmonise with other SIGs and products within FINOS as we try to seed even more over time. For example, back to our list of technologies to consider. We already have some exciting and successful products within FINOS. Impacting how we may consider blockchain and DLT, we have the various financial objects tools currently available. Morphia and CDM both help when considering robotics and RPA today. Quantum technology already has a bit of a head start with QIR Alliance within the wider Linux Foundation, and Open Metaverse Foundation aligns with our efforts on the future use of augmented and virtual reality alongside spatial computing. Springbot looks into chatbots which are thriving in the current surge of natural language innovation. Legend looks to the future of data processing, and finally Waltz considers how better to secure your architecture, which is highly relevant for crypto agility. This list isn't exhaustive, however. We still have scope to develop many more in the future. You can find out more about each of the projects on screen and many more that we couldn't fit at landscape.finos.org. Next up, we want to talk about the last part of our process, proving out proofs of concept. This is our exploration program within the SIG that helps participants to get involved with projects hands-on. We aim to use this program to encourage more participation within our SIG and the wider FINOS community. To do this, we have put some limits on the exploration, namely setting maximum exploration time and funding limits, and requiring projects to pass through a vetting process. Let's take a look at how this will work. As part of primer creation, we outline opportunities where the emerging technologies can disrupt FinTech, detailing relevant solutions or applications. The primer then raises a call to arms for the community to submit ideas or projects to explore within the SIG. We also accept proposals that aren't directly tied to the primers, but we do always encourage the reuse of pre-existing projects or materials. The Brain Trust review the submitted ideas on a regular schedule. If an idea is deemed to have merit for further exploration, the SMEs provide a justification for exploration by the wider SIG. The maintainers of the SIG work with the Brain Trust to develop a value proposition that explains the predicted impact of the exploration. Once we have a collection of ideas that are identified, verified, and have a clear ask associated, we take them to the funding committee to get the go-ahead. If you don't need money or access to resources, you will get waved through this step. Once you're all set up, we kick off the project. In return for access to support, we require regular updates back to the community, talking us through how you're handling the project. These, in turn, become an artifact for future innovators or users that they can refer to. If at any part of the project it just isn't working, we still see the value of effort expended. We can help you store it as is, reclaiming any budget not used so that we can reinvest elsewhere, while recognising your stalwart efforts and learning from the blockers you ultimately faced. If your project makes it all the way to the end, we shout about it from the rooftops in our showcases. These recorded demos and walkthroughs help to bring the code bases and repos to life. Taking this time to be retrospective and talk over what the next steps could be seeds the open source process stemming from a repo going live. It also helps to get some of those day zero installation woes for users just picking up your code after that final merge. Finally, we take the project into standard open source release and maintenance, making sure that the product can evolve and grow with help from wider technology community and giving recognition to the originators of the codebase. With all of that done, we need to consider what we can do to support this elaborate vision. Let's move on to what we're currently working on to make sure that the process runs as smoothly as possible. First up, technology passporting. Let's say that you're a large enterprise looking to adopt some cool new technology that you've just read about on the news. Excitement soon gives way to the age-old problems that every enterprise must consider. These being the woes of security, stability, liability, trust and readiness. These can act as a shield preventing innovation if not addressed properly. Let's take a look through an example. Let's say some researchers have come together to pitch their product through an early stage company. The tech looks really exciting. Our friends in enterprise want to have the conversation, but a barrier comes down hard, cutting the conversation off. Now this barrier has been set up to protect enterprise from risks. In order to cross this barrier, research in early stage companies will have to demonstrate their enterprise readiness, but they have no idea what they need to prove. Now, we would just expect that enterprise would explain it to them, but for every large enterprise there are thousands upon thousands of companies wanting to pitch their services and products to them. Enterprise can't find the time to do what they need to do to keep their business profitable, while also constantly re-explaining time and time again what needs to be done just to make the smaller businesses viable to transact with. How can we solve this problem? Well, one solution is to think about tech passporting. The same way that you can carry a small book that lets you travel to other countries is the same principle that can apply here. The research and early stage companies can apply for a passport that gives them a series of enterprise readiness questions to answer. Once they answer all of the questions, they get an accreditation. The enterprise can then trust that anyone with that accreditation is ready to work with them, allowing for bi-directional trust to form. As we develop our program, we want to help those that develop their POCs or adopt to the open source standards from the SIG to be able to engage with the wider community. To do this, we intend to partner with Tech Passport to satisfy these points on the screen. By solving this step, we help improve the applicability of SIG participants with FINOS members. With the future made easier to realise, let's talk about what support we can give to those participating in the POC process. All projects require tools or platforms in order to test out their ideas. This can require licenses, compute time, access to existing sandboxes, technical, physical or graphical assets, and technical support or advice from providers. If you're a small team with a big idea, you may also require professional services. These can cover pre-trained staff who provide support for innovators, help to get the skills required to deliver a project, enable innovators to scale ideas, and support post-project adoption through trained managed services. As examples, FINOS members such as Google Cloud or the Linux Foundation can co-invest in ideas to ensure their tools and environments have first-mover advantage in early project prototypes. Services companies such as Synchron and Acolyte can provide exploration with labour and skills. This isn't a prescriptive list, but we wanted to avoid logo barrage on this slide. We've selected these four due to either their existing membership or, in the case of Acolyte, pre-engagement that we have had while forming our SIG proposal. During the POC phase, tools and platform providers would provide an element of free or heavily subsidised rates to aid in exploration. Following the project, these providers can showcase the benefits of the new technology to their wider ecosystem, raising awareness and increasing the value add for themselves. This would lead to wider engagement for the continued support of our open source code and standards by synchronizing these communities. Similarly, we would look for free or heavily subsidized rates for professional services. Following the POC stage, professional service providers would also be able to establish agreements to support enterprise adoption at fixed costs, further reducing the risk of onboarding new technologies by providing budget planning stability. This, in turn, would give adopters the confidence that they will have talent pools ready to work on the setup or integration projects, removing elements of uncertainty through partnership. Lastly, we seek to seed support for the future. We do this by baking in a strategy to develop the future talent of all emerging technologies that we engage. By developing materials from the intelligence we gain and discover, sourced from our experts, participants, and supporting organisations, we take the information and data to seed materials. These materials help us to bring future participants along with us, while also helping those that discover us in the future to be able to catch up. Ultimately, this makes our work more sustainable. Let's walk through an example of this. We start off with our expert. They help us to write the first primer. This primer is then used by the innovator who discovers and adds more to the primer through their own work. Finally, after the POCs are done, future users come along and they add back to the primer as the technology evolves and they use or contribute back to the source. This primer then goes on to be looked at by a future user way later on. They can use this primer to train up and become a subject matter expert of their own, innovate a new direction for the technology, or become a capable user of the technology themselves. That about wraps up what we're planning to do with the SIG, but we do have some key asks for this audience. We are always looking for more support partners to help us to deliver our vision. If this is something that you or your company would be interested in, please get in touch with us here at FINOS. But to the wider community, this SIG will not be able to work unless we have a community of like-minded explorers taking part in the discussion and the process. If you would like to take part, please reach out. We want to hear from all of you. Thank you for listening, and hopefully we will all speak soon.